What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I'm going to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down on what caused so much disruption today and what might be coming next. Before we get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And with that said, let's get right to it. So starting off, Lucid did go down 5.88%. So not necessarily according to plan. Nvidia hit a home run earnings. A lot of people were anticipating for the broader market to kind of piggyback off of that momentum. But if anything, the opposite happened. So as soon as the market opened, it just tanked. So pretty much a wall of, or sea of red, unfortunately, today. But one positive thing, if you want to consider it that way, 20.4 million shares were traded today, 24.2 is the average. And majority of the volume being done today was actual institutions buying Lucid. So once again, that's kind of a positive thing, if that makes sense, if you're looking for some optimistic stance today. So these are some of the transactions that did occur on the secondary market above $100,000. So it is very unfortunate, the fact that Lucid does have to trend down in order for institutions to be somewhat interested in Lucid. So it's not necessarily the best, but still beside the point, this is one positive from today. There was no actual news itself today, so rather quiet, but SEC filings, there was a Form SD that was submitted after hours today. So I feel like that might confuse a lot of individuals because it has a lot of legal jargon and whatever else, but ultimately it's just a very standard form, has to be submitted once a year on any company kind of handling conflict materials. So it kind of goes to show, or Lucid has to, I guess, state what they do with those materials, how they handle them, and everything else. So in my opinion, this is just more of a formality, nothing to really overly read into unless you are very, very curious, but still, in my opinion, it's nothing really crazy. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. A couple of things as well that really disrupted the broader market was this talk of recession. So you do see this individual right here says US recession likely this year already, as well as JP Morgan saying that if obviously the market still remains volatile due to a lot of macro levels, there is going to be a significant pullback, probably like 25-30%, if not a little bit more. So this is definitely not what the market does want to hear. So not necessarily the best. One thing as well that's somewhat as a positive, if that makes sense, shorts did return 1.11 million shares. So this is why I like to analyze this type of information, because by shorts returning on a red day kind of shows that it was unjustified. But once again, that's just my own opinion. Utilization is 97%, 30.57% of the free float is being shorted. That works out to be 270.84 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost of borrow average is 35.11%. Short score, so the higher the number, the harder the likelihood of a squeeze happening, is 96.8. So kind of interesting stuff. Through Interactive Broker, short availability does indicate that there's roughly about 1 million shares available to be shorted. So once again, kind of interesting stuff. Moving on though, looking at this information, so dollar value wise, getting into options was very low today. 261,000 in calls, 153 in puts. Sentiment wise, 45% of all the options being done today were bearish, so not necessarily the best type of information. But of the call options that were purchased today, there's still a consensus for it to be above $3 in the next couple weeks. And then looking at puts, you do see now a strong consensus for it to be sub $2.50. And I just want to refer you back to here. So I did bring this up in my last video. So the Elliott Wave Technicals does have a pivot point of $2.44. So for as long as it is above that, then it is anticipated to get between that 350 and 370. But let's say it does continue to trend down, it breaks below this 240, then unfortunately $2.10 to $1.89 is anticipated. So based on the put options that are being purchased, clearly people are anticipating for this to continue to trend down and maybe hit this low twos or the high ones. So definitely not the best chain of events. But over and above that though, while I'm actually on here, the latest analyst rating came out roughly about 7 days ago, $3 price target, RBC Capital, and Tom, who does have a 50% success rating. So let me know your thoughts on that. Latest Morningstar report just came out early this week. Unfortunately, they didn't really change the fair market value, so it still does show $4.39 99 cents. So that is based off of Lucid's assets, inventory, and whatever else. So still something to consider. So if you are looking for, on a side note, a lot of good compiled information, such as everything that I just mentioned, take a look at Interactive Brokers for all of this to be completely free. Link in the description below and also the comments. But moving on, let's talk on this. So I've already brought up some of the institutions buying on the secondary market. These are some of the transactions that have occurred so far today on the dark pool. So dark pool is often enough linked to shorting as well as larger institutions. So shorts are obviously making up a majority of the volume as well as institutions. Still a nice change of events because algorithmic trading has really been dictating what has been happening with Lucid. So nice change of events. But right now with it closing at $2.72, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So $2.70 was that saving grace for Lucid. So it bounced off of that general area, but definitely going into tomorrow, watch for this S1 to hold, because if not, then that's where the Elliott wave technicals are going to come into play, where it might be the low ones possibly, or the high, or sorry, low twos, or possibly the high ones. I think I said that wrong. But beside the point, $2.96 is going to be that next strong resistance / target. But in my opinion, I don't think that's going to be touched anytime soon, unless, for instance, Lucid itself puts out some substantial pieces of news. But obviously, we already know Lucid at this stage in the game. Looking on the actual chart itself, so it is getting dragged back below that 50-day moving average, so that might be tested tomorrow. Really hope not, because Lucid's actually had a fairly good run, and to stay above that 50-day moving average, I think this is like a record for it. But still, definitely need to watch for that going into the next couple days. It did transition from the higher to the lower percentile of the Bollinger Band. Stochastic, you do see a bearish deviation, so red line above the white as well. It is at roughly about 33, so somewhat considered oversold now. So if there's a good piece of news, like I said, then you could see a rush of value investors getting into Lucid. And like I've been kind of indicating over the last several videos, retail has been selling out, whether they're just anticipating a downtrend, taking profits, or something else. I'm not really sure. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid. Have you been selling? Have you been buying? What have you been doing with Lucid? And what is your thoughts just generally on the whole topic of recession? Do you think that there is going to be a very significant recession happening in 2024 or possibly early 2025? And how do you think Lucid would fare against that? So don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, make sure you guys definitely take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 7 fractional shares of the 𝗪𝗧𝗛. So pretty kick-ass deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.